And and this is my common catchphrase, so I'm gonna do it. We are live!
We live.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever the peck time is. Hello and welcome to another Toonkind FPS.
Whoop
Whoop whoop. I am one of your wonderful people today. I am Vwild, playing a range of characters, including some new ones. All of them are chaotic dumbasses, and I not a single one of these people is distinguished, including one character who says he is. We're telling him to kindly put his hand down.
whoop.
And I am joined by the absolutely fantastic, splendiferous, wondrous, amazing person whom I adore with all my heart.
Ah. You guys do that on purpose every single time. Hello,
I
I'm Whis. I'm Whis. I am the flattered Whis. I'm also playing a load of characters. Any of my characters distinguished? No, I think they're all dorks. But I don't think any of them try either. So there's that.
Yeah. I think Iona might, but actually we've only known her a short period of time, so probably we're looking at her going, "You're our only hope on the potentially distinguished."
Nah, she runs a pub.
You could be fancy and own a pub.
You could. I'm gonna go with a maybe, a solid maybe.
Yes, we're jotting her down for the solid maybe.
Mm-mm.
Jeeves, put your hand down. In this game, because we've said two of the characters, but not fully, because this is an important game, as our title card shows. It's moving house. It's the day that after a month and after a long time coming, because bless these guys, it's the time that Lynn is finally moving out of Toontown with her eclectic bunch of people.
Oh boy, eclectic is definitely the word. There's a whole bunch of different folk here.
Yeah, because Lynn is a paranoid toon. We are all aware of this. She has actually had people of her network coming in to help out with this, including one guy who we've heard of him distantly. He has been mentioned before as scattered around. We've got Jeeves. He is a wonderful Airedale Terrier, and yes, his surname is Airedale.
Jeez,
But
Airedale,
he's
I
just
love it.
yeah, Jeeves Roughbridge Airedale,
I love that.
and we
That's
love
great.
it. And he's been here since for a while now. He's been dropping by after his other shifts, giving Lynn information about certain places and rich folks, but also just being there to help her make sure all the plans for moving and all the contingencies were in place, because just as at this monkey, she can hold so much paranoia in her. Thankfully, he validates it and he helps solve it. And he has just been here the previous night, just on stakeout on the roof to make sure nothing happened at any 3 a.m. events.
3 a.m. is a dreadful time to wake up.
Yep, we can testify to that.
In and out of character.
Method acting!
Yeah. Between fire alarms and children, we got it covered.
Oh, yeah, we've got it covered to the nth degree. But we do have it where it's been morning here at the Stagehands Requiem. Everything's in order, every last step has been put in place. And there is just Jeeves downstairs with Lynn. They've probably got food, but it is probably the Jeeves has gone, we are going to have a sustained breakfast. First, you are going to have food instead of hyperfixating. Have these waffles.
Butler mode activated.
Yes, it's pretty dang good that she has had Jeeves for the past 4 years, because Lynn, she didn't always have rye.
Yeah. Yep. Oh dear.
And so they're both downstairs, Jeeves trying to encourage Lynn not to eat the waffles with her hand and failing as they're both just looking over the final contingency map.
Oh dear. I'm just picturing Haddy in the corner, just wheezing every time he can because he can't communicate. Well, he can't hear Jeeves communicating because Jeeves only signs and Haddy is blind. So the retorts from Jeeves go over his head completely. But all of the snappy responses from Lynn, he can hear those loud and clear, and they just make him wheeze. This one-sided pouting, and I am going to be a menace. It's my anxiety attack. I'll do what I like, kind of thing. And he's just sort of sipping at his tea, having a grand old time.
Yes. There is every now and then a very pointed sip of tea, because Jeeves is entirely mute on the front that the only thing that possibly makes noise is any sound effects from outside things he's influencing. So there is every now and then a very pointed sip, but not slurp of tea, and then a crunch, munch, 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 munch of waffles from Lynn.
Oh boy. As for Rye, he's been up just as long as all the adults have, and he's excited, and he's not sure how the house is going to be moved, so he is battening down the hatches, so to speak. So he's upstairs and he's taking any wobbly precious things off shelves and putting them in boxes on the floor, making sure it's all gonna be fine if the house just rocks or anything. So he's like, okay, I don't know how this is gonna happen, but I'm gonna make sure it's all good. So that's what he's doing.
He's probably joined in that effort by Network, who is just shuffling boxes into the most strategic places possible. And then the floor is almost seeming to just like ever so slightly mold up around the boxes. Like, if Rye leaves a box alone for too long, he can try and pick it up and it just won't move. It's hers now. And
That's good.
Network might be taking some slight delight in this, of seeing how many of these boxes can I get away with.
Just taking all of the shinies. Oh dear. Network.
Yes. It's just, he puts one thing down at one stage, and instead of it staying in one place, it just rolls into the wall and it's gone. It's hers now.
Well, I mean, Hammerspace is a good place for this stuff, but the trick is getting it back.
Yeah, you're gonna have to bribe her to retrieve the shinies with other shinies.
Mm-hmm.
There is a pointed reason why Jeeves always carries his silver tray when he's in the house.
Oh no. Oh dear. So I reckon they have a fairly good morning. It's probably around 9 o'clock. They've had enough time to have their breakfast, to be anxious, etc. And probably Network, now that she's a bit more up to strength since the whole thing, she'll probably notice it first. A group of people coming down the street, and oh, there's a business card there.
And there is just, as she's noticing, she is checking, she is reaching out as far as she can go, because with everything that's happened, she has had a lot of visitors, and with that, a lot of bonds and a lot of feeding. And hey, Warmthbringer's been home nearly all the time! And so it has been delightful for Network in building up to being back to full strength and maybe slightly clingier to Lynn, so there's a bit more warmth into that bond. But yet, I think she's figured out who this is. She's figuring out who this is. She's happy. This is exciting. This is exciting. And Jeeves and Lynn are both just as one, just slapping their hands down on the main table to keep all the maps and books and stuff in place.
The small gale that blows inside the house. Oh, I love it.
Yep. Jeeves's little ears are just flapping in the breeze.
So this group of three, two fairly, I'm gonna say tall. They're about 5-ish feet, and one
Well, you
much
said
much
5
smaller.
foot 11, 5'8", so yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they're normal human-ish size, I guess. Um,
Just visit my eclectic group. Just visit my eclectic group. They're
um,
tall. You
yeah,
guys are tall.
two tall and one very, very opposite of that approach the door. And one of them is going to attempt to knock. Is Network going to give them that opportunity or what?
No. It's just there is an extra Wolverine, friends of ours, and Lynn just goes, "Okay, batten down," and she's ducking under the table. Jeeves has got the memo. Jeeves understands this. He's under the table as well, like silver tray up. And I need the other three to make a strength save, please.
I love that. And I really hope this is just as funny as last time, because last time was hilarious. Okay, we'll start with.
Can I just say, just as a goof, if Faber does well, we're going to give him disadvantage because you know Network's going to start singing.
I think we should give him disadvantage. What do you reckon?
Yeah, do it. Go on, Faber.
Oh no.
Oh, Faber, you had to do well. Well, 14 is still enough to get lifted a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just,
And then.
everyone's going to be a target, but it's just like, Network has figured Faber has fun reactions.
Okay, Iona's not doing too bad. And then we get to the fun bit with the -4. Oh, wow. Straight up.
Yeah. That is a 1. That is a unnatural 1.
We love to see it. That's how it should be.
But you know what? Which makes sense, seeing as there's just like these two tall people that Network's building up all the energy to get. And then there's also this tiny little small one. And that's her best friend. That's her little friend. That's little Ashling. That's little Ashling. Little Ashling's so young. And it's just like Faber gets scooped. Iona almost gets scooped. It's like balls of your feet just up, just slightly. Oh wait, no, she's. Is Iona actually coming in full form? Actually, because that's one of the things we talked about.
At the moment, she is. Yeah, she is in her normal bipedal form at the moment. Yeah.
But yeah, she's on the balls of her feet, and then it's just like Network goes from tormenting Faber to friend, as she's just diving in, just like little Ashling is being scooped into a warm, happy, vibrant tornado hug.
Ashling is also completely mute, but the expression on her face as she is basically picked up and you know that pretending the kid can fly, moving them around the room kind of thing is what I'm picturing. She's just happy. She's giggling silently. She's having a great time. Faber is still just sort of, he's swinging his arms around going, "Oh, hello, Network."
Morning. And she is just so happy. She is so happy. It's just like Faber's probably gonna be nudged into the house. No, Ashling is being given the full on. If she likes this, she is being given the full experience of tornado round the house. Be a little superhero.
Oh yes, she is definitely down for that. Absolutely.
And there's just Lynn, who's now finally coming out from underneath the table, and Jeeves. Jeeves is just slowly inching out because Jeeves has learned over time if he makes no sudden movements, perhaps the house will be merciful. He's managed it. He has a wonderful image of distinguished, and so he's slowly learned how to just politely decline the extreme tornado. Just barely.
Oh,
but there is just Lynn going, "Good morning, Faber, Iona, and a Lashling. Hey, you little picnic, and you're flying. You're not gonna be put down for a while, are you?
She just sort of
Yeah,
shrugs,
that's
but keeps going like she shrugs and then goes back into Superman pose.
right. That is adorable. But then Network just happily chatting to Ash, thinking of how been doing good, been doing great myself. Woo! And just living day, woo! And just the child is getting loop the loops.
Um, Network's not getting any kind of responses to questions with that, just because Ashley can't draw while she's playing Superman. So, oh well.
Which makes sense. It's honestly, this is a child. This is a child who doesn't quite remember. Oh, hey, you can't do two things at once. If you're hugging someone and spinning them, they can't sign or draw or do anything. They're
Mm,
just here now.
yeah, basically. Iona is going to be laughing at her older brother. She's just sort of standing in the door. She's definitely well buffeted, and she's trying to smooth her very long hair back down. But she is still just laughing at him because he got picked up, and he's just flailing around.
Yes, we love to see it. Eventually, he will be deposited down. And then probably Network's gonna realize, oh wait, I've made all your hair go everywhere. Let me fix that. And instead of the hair going straight around, it is just like straight down. Just smooth everything back into face by force.
That's not how that works, Network, but all right. Oh dear, oh dear. And Iona's going to turn to Lynn and I assume Jeeves is there as well, and offer a
Yep.
smile and lean down a little bit and a hand to shake. It's good to meet you in person. I hope you don't mind that I've come to assist.
Not at all. The more the merrier. And Lynn's gonna reach out her hand. She's she's actually gonna reach out the traditional hand to shake. Just like she is wearing some nice black gloves today.
Mm.
Just have that formal stuff. And so she is just shaking the hand on this one. And I'm just gonna roll something real quick. Just let's see, because yes, I've learned how to do a party in DMV, so I can actually have all the characters together, so I don't actually lose stuff.
Yes, I have recently learnt that too.
Yeah, I tried it before. You can't really do it with other people's sheets,
Mm.
which I learned by accidentally making a party, which was just all rye.
I mean, you can add them to other people's sheets to a party.
It's not her strongest handshake. It feels a little bit wooden, but she is putting her all into it.
That's
And
okay.
she is just genuinely smiling. It's a really good day.
Mm. Cool.
She's had a decent sleep as well. Like it was dreamless. It was dreamless, yes, but out of everything, dreamless is great nowadays.
Yep. Thank heavens for small miracles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's actually starting to sleep through the night.
we love to see it. When Faber eventually gets put down, he's going to sort of straighten himself off and try and recover any ounce of decorum, and just sort of sigh slightly and give the closest wall a very fond pat, and then turn to Lynn. How all you been? Are you prepared for today?
And there is a grin from Lynn. Jeeves, who is standing at her side and just ever so slightly beside her, just slightly behind her, a right hand man, is just, he gives a nod, and Lynn just goes, yeah, we're as, well, ready as we could ever be. I'm in as best a health as I can get. We've had a few hiccups over the month, but been putting in my stuff, been eating, been sleeping, uh, and Sweetheart's doing pretty well. I think she's at full capacity as well.
Well,
We're ready.
good. All right. I will start the preparations. Iona has come to help contribute some magic to the affair. How many spellcasters are we relying on today?
That is actually a question, isn't it? I have got to ask as we're doing this, and Lynn is actually just going around her desk and hopping up so that she can look at some of her notes that are sprawled across this desk. She just goes, uh, I've hired a few people from my informant network, so we got a few people in. I've got to ask, how is this meant to be done? Like, what's the way you're gonna do this? Because this bullshit. And she's just,
Well, it is a little bit of an unconventional magic, but it involves basically, ideally, lifting network straight up and then basically giving her a little bit of a push.
I'm just going to roll something really quick. I'm gonna roll Jeeves something. He's not a one, so we'll see how well he does on this.
30-20.
There is Jeeves just standing there in the traditional butler's pose, and he's just looking at Faber. He's around 4'11" himself, and he's just looking at Jeeves. He's just looking at Faber, and there is now just the eyebrow raise of, "Are you serious?" It is not the complete as is in his head. Are you kidding me? This is just lift because he's full on imagining just house boop and just moving it. Like full on little cartoon with the lollipop sticks in a puppet show sort of pop up and move.
I mean, I guess we'll see, won't we? Excuse me. Faber is going to let them have a couple of seconds to process that, and I'm going to roll him his hammer space. You gotta be kidding me.
That's a rumble!
Dice passer, you asshole! Okay.
Jeeves took the good roll.
Dang it. Alright. One
While
second.
Faber's fumbling, I will have Lynn just go, so let's see, there's Haddy. Haddy, you willing to contribute?
Yeah, of course I am. And Haddy's sort of
All right.
trundling over. What's a 16? Okay, Faber just reaches into, like, he's got quite billowy sleeves, and he kind of reaches into them, and then he just sort of jolts to one side slightly, and his arm goes straight down as his big heavy cannonball just goes ka-tung into the floorboards.
There is no reaction from Jeeves whatsoever. Lynn is just kind of staring, going, "Is that your pick in spell focus?" And meanwhile, Network is now just deposited like the lashling on the ground and is trying to steal this cannonball.
He's just sort of looking at it, and then he just sort of picks his arm up and gives his arm a little bit of a rub. Because I don't know if you've ever, had been holding something in one hand that was too heavy, and then your arm just gave out. That's what that was, and now his elbow kind of hurts. No, it's not. Where on earth did that come from? Let's try that again. Yeah, that's big enough. Okay. So he pulls out a kind of like a sort of magenta-y kind of pink spellbook, which has gold detailing on it, and what looks like a box of very pink chalk.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
he sort of tucks the spellbook under his arm and holds onto the chalk, and he looks straight at Lynn and says, "I'll go and start the preparations. If you want to get everybody outside once we are ready with all of the markings that we need to make, we can proceed."
Indeed. Oh, actually, there is one thing. Could you wait inside for just a moment? I'm actually waiting for a few people to finally show up. I've hired a few people from my informant network to come along today. Jeeves has helped me coordinate. We're putting in fail-safes after everything that's happened recently, making sure that no one can be targeted.
Ah,
But
of course.
let's see. Jeeves, what time did we say Morpha? And could everyone roll me perception, please?
I would be delighted. I would be delighted for everyone to roll perception. Let's see. Haddy. I'm gonna say Haddy notices unless I need to be higher than a 24. So.
No, no. In fact, I'm just gonna off-screen roll a performance. Yeah, no, they're gonna get they're gonna get hurt. That
Uh,
was a nine. That was a 19 on a performance elsewhere. They're gonna get hurt no matter what. So let's see, just see. What's your perception, my wonderful darling Lynn? That is a +7 and network. My baby. My baby, my honey pie.
Faber. Oh my goodness. Only thing with characters at a level like this, they have so many spells. Okay, back to the top.
I just doing my last one of Jeeves. Because Jeeves, you've got your Yep, okay.
And I'll roll one for Rye upstairs too. Just. What's your perception again? Oh yeah, it's quite good.
You know what? Rye getting a 19 makes sense. Because it's not the front door that goes. It's out of everything. There's just you're all talking. And Jeeves, from his pocket, has pulled out a little silver pocket watch and he is just staring at it. And he goes to sign to Lynn anytime now. And he doesn't get to finish his final sign as the door to the roof suddenly is affectionately kicked in. And there is a kathunk. And then just goes, good. The sketches have arrived.
And Faber and Iona just sort of look at each other and then look back at Lynn. This is the informants you mentioned, I take it?
Yes, one of my star groups. Hey, you mother peckers, get down here! And there is just, from upstairs, there's just, keep your fucking hair on, we're coming! And from upstairs, is Ryan in his room or is he just like coming out now?
Oh, he's definitely coming out now. He's like, what the heck?
And right from the not the attic, from the door that looks like one of those traditional attic ones, there is a group of people that come down, a group of 3 first. Other people shuffling in after. But you do see 3 people first and foremost, and the one that yelled is a goblin.
Yeah, cool.
Just very nice. Almost like he does look like a toon. It's slightly in that he is a very bright green for a goblin. For he is actually a real kind.
Mm-hmm.
And he hops down, dusts himself off. He's wearing pretty traditional clothes, very melt into the background sort of things. He has a hoodie on and he's taken the hood down so that his ears and his features are fully on show. You get the feeling that if he didn't have his features on show, he would just be this is just someone in the background. This could be anyone, anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other 2, there's one guy who is a Upian, like, mink, stoat, weasel, one of those sorts of things.
Mm-mm.
And he's just there in a full sailor's get-up with a bright orange, like, life jacket and everything.
Yep.
The whole shebang. Who just sees you and gives this very cheery wave. And then the last one is this 4-foot-tall woman, you'd say, wearing this deep, dark brown cloak. And she takes her hood down as well. She's sticking very, very close to Cop, who is the goblin. And she is entirely white. Like, every last one of her features is just paper white. Just she's got bold outlines, or at least you think those are outlines. But she is just looking around, very inquisitive, just in that way of you've seen people look around Network before in the familiar but also curious way of
Mm.
she has been here before.
Rye is going to narrow his eyes slightly at her anyway, just as a knee-jerk reaction more than anything else.
She immediately clocks that and just looks back, and she doesn't have pupils. She's just fully just. When I say everything is white, I mean from her hair to her entire form is just solid white. She is blank slate in a sense.
Oh, yeah, Rye's got the heebie-jeebies. Like, he's not saying anything, and his eye hasn't really changed colour, but he's just like, nope, not a fan of that. Not a fan of that. Okay.
I'm gonna roll something because I swear she's a sweet pea. She's just socially awkward as peck. Okay, I'm gonna roll. No, she does not pick up on the tension. She has blooming proficiency in this thing. She does not pick up anything. She just kind of she looks around, and then she looks specifically at Rye, and she tilts her head just slowly to one side, and then just gives this very tiny wave.
Rye will return it, but it's stiff and a little slow. And then he'll come out of fully out of his room and trot towards the handrail because he is fully intending on just jumping over it.
Absolutely fantastic. But after these three and a small, like, tiny army afterwards are coming in, there are Rubber Hose, Frank Nelly, UPA, and just a bundle. And it's just like after that, the guy at the front, the goblin, just goes, "All right, everyone downstairs, swarm!" And they all just collectively, they don't go to the one bit of the banister that Rye's going over. They just vault over straight.
I'm just picturing the stampede from the Lion King, all of the
Yes.
whatever animal they were, brain no worky, but going over the edge of the cliff.
Yes, exactly that.
Oh.
And there is Lynn downstairs. While all this is going on upstairs, this little showdown, there is just Lynn downstairs, just with the yes, this is a perfectly normal Tuesday. And Jeeves next to her going, "Oh dear fucking god, you brought in the A squad." He does not say this out loud. He does not say this out loud, but he is definitely going, "It's this squad. It's this squad."
And Faber and Iona are just sort of standing there, and Haddy has just taken a step closer to Lynn because he has no idea what's going on, but if she's calm, he wants to be as close to her as possible.
Yes. And they do swarm down. I'm presuming Rye might ever so slightly get brought into this tornado of people. This wilderness swarm of people, a la Lion King.
Yeah.
He is getting like from the UPA and Mink. He's getting a head pat because it's just like, yeah, we like this kid. We've heard of this kid. We like this kid. In fact, the Mink is gonna outright say, "You're your boss's kid."
Yeah. You mean, yeah. You all work for my mom?
Detective Stagehand, yeah. We've been, let's see, I've been working for her for 7 years. Yo, Morpher, how long have you been again? 3 years. Yeah, there we go. And Cop's been around for, I don't know, and I'm pretty sure if I keep on asking about his age, I'm gonna get a knife to the head, so we're just gonna go some time period for you. And you are now being swept into conversation with this very energetic guy. Of he's just like going around, literally going around the group, just spinning on his heel, pointing at people, and just going, "How many years? That many years? Okay."
Rye does get swept up in the enthusiasm a little, and it's because it's a different flavor, I guess, to the way that the stagehands en masse kind of are, but it's very similar, I suspect.
Yes, it Lynn definitely does associate with a certain brand of chaos.
She does. And Faber is still just he's just standing there, man. This is your network.
Ah, yes, my main group of informants. These are the sketches. I've collected them over the years. They're the best of the best. Ain't that right, Jeeves? And Jeeves just gives a very good thumbs up. He is not going to comment because they are very good. But it's just as this swarm grows closer, there is just. Would Faber and Iona like to roll insight?
Sure.
Anyone who can roll insight. In fact, I'm even saying can roll insight as well because this is his mum.
Alrighty. Okay, we got Faber first. There are so many character sheets.
I know.
Okay. Faber is a +5. F. Iona. Oh, Iona, you're good at this. And Rye, my boy.
Hey.
That actually tracks really well because of the three of them, Iona has only met Lynn just now.
Yeah, indeed. It's Iona's only met, so there is a settling of Lynn's shoulders and just a roll back. And you don't, Iona, you don't quite get it. You don't know this tune. But Faber gets it a bit of how Lynn's settling into almost the mode that she had in the first place of meeting him, after she'd made him lob his book. Of just that it's that semi-professional coolness with that edge to it. Of just she's settling into a minor professional setting. Right? You've never seen your mum quite look like this this is her in supreme business mode. But you can see how she's warm. Like she's looking at these people and in fact with a 24 you're looking at her and you're also in this swarm of people and you see how they look back at your mum. And there is respect there. There is loyalty. There is whatever story all of these people have, they have all come to Lynn either through cases or through meeting her through circumstances, but she's won that loyalty and kept that loyalty. This isn't people that are just on a paycheck. This is actual teamwork and a group, a network.
He's gonna once he clocks that, he's just gonna his eye goes a little sparkly, and there's a few little stray pieces of Grolix. Can I actually get a perception check from Network and Lynn and Jeeves, if you like?
Yep. Perception. I've already done that once today, so I know that code on top of my hat. Come on, you guys can do it. I believe in you. That is a 30. No, they did not all get 13s. That would have been hysterical. That's a 20, a 19 from Network, and a 16 from Jeeves.
Which is
Jeeves is trying. I think Jeeves is maybe slightly trying to wrangle the swarm of just literally signing. This is a respectable household. Please control yourselves.
It's actually perfect because he actually doesn't really know any better. But Lynn and Network will notice it straight away. Rye's Grolix has changed. It's not just straight red anymore. It has yellow line work.
Okay, she's keeping a professional face. She's keeping a professional face. She's keeping a professional face. Jeeves can full on see that Lynn is internally just absolutely beyond measure delighted. It's, Network is not hiding anything. There is the warm humming, and just like even in this small swarm of people, Rai can feel underneath his feet there is a slight vibration, and there is just he's now got a scarf of warm breeze.
He's just he longs to sort of just pat at the wind arms that are around his neck because he's like, I'm getting a hug now. Okay, why? What did I do? Oh dear.
But after a moment, Lynn takes a very deep breath and just like smooths out all the rest because she was so close to pom-pomming you will not believe. But she just goes, but Faber, Iona, the Lashling, and Ray actually, because I've not introduced you all before. These are the sketches. We've got Cop, and the Goblin raises his hand, and we've got Tarp. Tarp, good to see you. How the dock's been? Same as always. Right, we'll talk about that later. And then we got Morpha. Lovely to see you, darling. And the last tune from earlier, the one that is just pale white, just raises her hand again and gives a more solid wave. She's like, now, Morpha, you'll be working with Faber today, alright? So take a good scan while we're talking, eh? Anyway, while we're talking through all this stuff, so have you got a route in mind for this, Faber? And she's entirely bypassing everything else now. She's just leaving the group in Jeeves's hands. Morpha is now very intently staring at Faber. It might be a little disconcerting.
I am going to do Faber a Whis save to see how unsettled he is because that's funny. Is this the right character sheet? Yes, it is. Okay. Yeah, he's a little off put, but he's not going to mention it or stare at her. So he gives it a bit of an yes, well, I had intended on taking Network to the teleportation circle station because Halloween Town is quite some way away. And we wanted to get there before Animus, so I figured a teleportation circle was the way to go.
Alright, that's good, that's good. Now, it also helps mask our trail a little bit more if anyone decides to pull anything, which we love to see. Corp, would you mind coming over here? And the goblin just breaks away, just gives Morpha a little pat on the shoulder before he comes over and just, like, jumps partially onto the table, just little claws scrabbling so that he can see everything as well. And she goes, right, so the teleportation circle is here. We'll want 2-3 splintering groups, muddy the trails a bit. And you've said we're going to be lifting the building. Is there any way to make it a bit less, obvious that we're moving a giant building?
Not hugely. I do have something in mind, but it's not going to make it any less obvious, unfortunately.
So we go with the backup plan on that front, Corp. Oh, you read my mind. Right! Yay, we get to bring those out. And the Corp is just grinning. These mismatched fangs are just full on display as he just goes off, yells something. Does anyone speak Abyssal here?
Let me see. Do you guys speak Abyssal? Nope.
Great. None of you understand. Like, Lynn doesn't even understand what is being said here. But it's just, Corp has the biggest grin on his face as Lynn is just smiling at him of just, you get the feeling that something's gonna happen.
And they're still in the house, so I think... Hold on. Proficiencies, that tab. No. Okay. Carry on.
But it's just, Corp's just like now rattling stuff off to a certain few people who are just giving thumbs up. Some people are actually just ferrying back outside, either through the door, one through a window. You get the feeling that that's just how they are. And a few back up through the roof. So it's just, still the main group is here, but it is just a slight thinning. And she goes, okay, so we got I've also sent out for one of my wild cards. He's not here today, but I may have commissioned the help of someone called Craigery. I've given him a day's free pass to do whatever the peck he wants, so we've got a foghorn in the distance and our little army of, like, marbles.
There's just a
If
small, distinct cackle from the part of the room that Rye is in. Hearing them about Gregory.
Lynn just grins, going, we've got our foghorn, and, well, we're going to be making things a little difficult here, so anyone who's trying to watch us or doing anything we really don't want, they're going to be looking for a needle in a pincushion haystack. How you doing, Morpha? And she just gives a thumbs up. She is still just straight up staring at Faber.
Oh dear. Faber is going to distinctly not look at her because that makes things so much better. All right. Well, I'm assuming then that I can start with the preparations.
Yeah. In fact, just because we're going to be wanting. Basically, we don't want someone looking and trying to target you, so we're just going to have a couple of people just making a distraction. Morpha, if you would. And Morpha, who's been standing by the desk, who has been staring very intently, just gives a very big smile, just tilts of her head, and then throws the hood that she has of this giant brown cloak over her head and seems to shrink inwards and then back outwards, and she's suddenly not the size she was before. She's now she's
5'11".
Faber's height. She's now 5'11", and the hoodie and the coat, this entire cloak that is a very thick one that entirely covers her features when she pulls it up. Everything, it even grows with her. And it just comes off as she gets taller again, and she hands it over just very delicately to Cop. And she is wearing pink and brown robes, very long white hair now, and Faber, you are looking at an exact replica of yourself.
Faber just sort of does prayer hands a little bit. I see.
And Morpha is now looking. She has now got pupils, which is great. Probably doesn't help that she is now staring intently again just to make sure she got every detail. Unfortunately. It's a good thing she does look partially tuned, so she does genuinely look as though she belongs, as though she is Faber.
Oh,
And
God.
Faber can roll. What would it be to understand toon biology? Perception or history, I guess, seeing as he is a toon?
Yeah, I can roll him a history. 14.
Yep. He'd be able to tell that this, like, if this was disguised self, she'd only be able to get a foot.
Mm.
It's whatever this isn't toon-based magic. This is more.
A shapeshifter, I see. Okay. Well, Miss Lynn, if that's everything, I am going to go and get everything started, and you can disperse your folk as is required, but we will not hit go until everyone is in position and ready. And with that, he's going to about face and go out the door.
Yeah. I will say there was one very... What's Faber's passive?
Mr. Dominum's passive is 11.
I think it's just enough. At the miss, there was a couple of people did just, like, straight up look over. And there was just Cop at the side of the table just squinted. And Corp is just gonna turn and go, yeah, Detective Stagehand, we're just gonna deal with stuff here. I'll set up a look. Morpho, darling, you gonna? And she's already following Faber, just staring, and then just matching his gait exactly.
Poor Faber. Last time he was here, he saw Lynn flinch at the word detective, so he deliberately didn't use it. And
I
now they're all
know.
cranky at him.
I know. It's hilarious because Lynn doesn't publicize it exactly, and so they're all just like, "This is Detective Stagehand. This person is the title. Death, death upon him."
Oh boy. Poor man. He can't catch a
Yes,
break, can he?
he cannot catch a break. Eventually, he might pick up that everyone calls her specifically Detective Stagehand in full. Might take a while. Might take more than just staring at him a bit more. Bless him. Just bless him. He doesn't deserve this shit.
I mean, he's a personal connection of hers, so maybe he
He's
has
not. He's
leeway.
not gonna. He's not gonna get drop kicked in an alleyway if that's what you're saying. No, he's gonna be treated with respect.
Oh goodness. So Faber is going to go about starting the preparations for this spell of his, and anyone sort of meandering around the Stagehands Requiem will be able to see what he's doing. He is making marks all over Network's outside, as high as he can reach on all of her external walls and her foundations as far as he can reach them, with this pink chalk. Is what he's doing at the moment, and he's going to spend some time doing that. How much time did I say that this spell takes? Where is it? Is it that one? Yep. Yeah. He'll be at it a while. So he's just doing that.
It's after a bit of watching him, I think there will be just like more for just like gesturing as though offering to help as well. There will be a couple of people who do look over. Like most of these people are rogues or, well, rogues, monks, low-level casters at best, who do multi-class into rogue and monk. But they are all just looking and just going, right, okay, this is one of ours now. This is one of ours now. Okay, we're gonna help out. They're helping out us. We're helping out them.
Oh dear. He is going to be appreciative of the offer. It's best if I do this. These markings have to be very precise.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll just keep going, and he'll do this for until he's done.
Yeah. Inside, there will be a few fun bits of Lynette helping. Like she's got Cop for a bit before he goes out to stake out the roof and just make sure everything's fine. Check to make sure there's no one watching the building.
Do you want to
And he's
roll for
probably
that?
followed by... Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Now, just give me 1 second because I have to get Cop's sheet. Cop, play nice. Yep, because you've got... Boop! 18!
You don't see anything.
That's disconcerting. That is disconcerting as heck. There are people... But he is just on the roof checking stuff out. Network is also keeping her passive perception out and stretched wide to see if she can catch anything. Because yes, this is way too many of her people under her protection here. She's going to keep them safe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I will just say one last thing inside. Oh wait, no, you go first.
Oh no. You go ahead.
But there is just one last thing of Lynn mapping out the final stuff, and she goes, "By the way, Iona, you're planning on staying in full form or going into your little cat form?"
Network told you that I do that, did she?
Yes, she was very fun. Apparently, she wanted to put you in her hammer space. We have dissuaded her from doing that.
Yeah, I remember that. I can take my other form if you'd prefer.
It would make some things easier. We like having scattered groups where the plan is for certain people to go in different groups. We'll be in a group ourselves. Myself, Faber, Haddy, right? But we're also going to have other people Masquerading. Your form is a bit too big for some of our disguised selves, but I think we have someone. And just from nowhere, there is a meow. And Lynn just stops and goes, Jeeves. And Lynn just very slowly looks at Jeeves. Jeeves wasn't holding a cat 5 minutes ago. Jeeves is now holding a cat. You don't know where he got it from. In fact, Iona can roll insight perception if she likes.
Sure.
Lynn isn't going to because she's just so done with his shit. He might be distinguished, but she's known him for a good 4 years now.
Sure. Insight or perception?
Let's go perception just because it's funny.
Okay. Nah.
No, everyone was suitably distracted with Lynn. In fact, does Haddy want to roll perception? Because Haddy's very good at perception.
I mean, his passive is 24.
Yeah, okay. So while this was all going on, there was just Jeeves as this was going on, Jeeves just opened his coat and did a rummage around inside. He pulled a cat out of his hammer space.
And Haddy's just gonna start laughing.
There is just Lynn looking utterly just done. Just, Jeeves, did you steal your employer's cat? Meow. Fair enough. Have a nice day, both of you. All right. We're going to have to return that today.
You got a whole menagerie in that coat of yours. And he expects no reply because he can't see it.
There is the gentle sound of a cat being placed on the desk, and then another meow. And Lou's just like, oh, for the bloody love of Peck, how many of those are you keeping in there?
Oh, Peck. All right.
They are both white cats of varying sizes. You think that they were intentionally brought. It hasn't just been, he's just been picking up random stray. He has been picking up random strays, but we're not going to bring that up.
Splendid. Oh dear. Iona is going to shift down into her white cat form and jump up onto the desk and give a salute, which looks really odd for a cat, but she does it. She's a toon.
Yes. But final stuff is put into place. The selection of cats are brought in. A few people from around, just like those that are possibly going to be helping Faber, even just a tiny amount, do just like cast Find Familiar or Small Image or Minor Illusion, sorry. And so there are just a collection of cats now just scattered around this building.
Splendid.
Hopefully no one has a pet allergy.
Oh well. Tough luck if so. And Iona's actually going to purr really loudly and then look up at Lynn. You've never seen Faber do this, have you?
No, we haven't. It's new experiences all around. Oh, this is actually happening.
It's quite the spectacle. He should be done soon, so we'll be able to get underway. And she's going to jump off the desk and trot towards the door.
There are at least 2 cats just following her. You're not sure whether it's the cats that Jeeves brought or the familiars. It's just you now have cat bodyguards. Congrats.
She does not mind. She likes animals. She's a druid, so it's all good.
And Lynn does just look around, just look at little Ashling and just like beam if little Ashling's still in. I think at this point Network has just like, after checking on everyone, making sure they're all safe, has gone into her little ambulata form to just run around a bit because she is so happy.
Ashling is going to be with Network, and once everything's sort of started to slow down, because it does take Faber quite a while to make all of these very precise markings on Network's external walls. Ashling is going to grab both of Network's hands and give her a good solid tug, trying to tug her towards the door.
It's as she's going, and I will say there are quite a few people that are just looking like just a few of the other people from the sketch group are just looking because that one came from the wall. There is this, there is a tiny baby monkey and a very very small child, and they are both just looking. Everyone's looking at that, clocking it, and going, "Oh God, this is new." And yeah, these two children have now been adopted into the group. The entire group is just going, "Okay, if anything happens to those two, we riot."
I think they're in good company. Oh dear. So after a good while, Faber is going to poke his head back into the door, and call out, "All the preparations are ready. If we want to vacate the premises."
Oh, right, radio. All right. Well, let's see. Right, everyone, get the pick out. And Lynn is just standing up, just from her desk, just rolled everything up. The entire room actually looks pretty bare. It's like Rye was doing earlier. Lynn and Jeeves have also done of just getting everything sorted, everything nailed down or pressed flush, and just done their best to make sure everything is going to be as safe as possible. A few files do end up in Jeeves's capable hands as Lynn just whispers something to him.
Yep.
And he just nods, and then they're both leaving together, him at her heels. And I think I'm gonna have like Cop do one final thing from the roof before he jumps over to the next one.
Okay. He doesn't see anything
I
out of
wanna
the
give him-
ordinary.
He just gives one final sweep, just nods, and then just does a running leap onto the next building.
Cool. Now I am just checking some stuff here. I'm doing some math, which I really should have done ahead of time, but anyway. So Faber, once everyone's come out, Faber is standing on the footpath outside Network's front door, and Iona has come over to stand next to him, and Aisling is pulling Network over as well. And Ryan and Haddy are in step behind Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
And Faber sort of gestures to the house. I've done everything that is needing to be done. Who is contributing magic to this affair?
Let's see. Morpha's got a couple of levels in magic, so she'd be able to contribute. Then Haddy.
Yeah, I can do
Rye,
something.
you able to contribute?
Yeah, of course.
Right, great. I don't know whether I'd be able to contribute. I'm learning bard spells, but I'm still not the best at it.
Well, you can definitely try. And your innate link with Network is going to be of benefit as well. What is the most powerful spell that you know?
Out of my spells, let me just. And Lynn is just like going into her pocket, pulling out her spell book that she's got, and she goes, I think healing word's pretty powerful. I've also got Chaos Bolt. I've got Chaos Bolt. That one's gonna be fun. I haven't properly used it yet, but I want to.
Okay.
But
All right.
I think they're called first level spells.
All right. And Faber is going to ask in a in-universe way that doesn't sound like like stats. How many spell slots has Lynn got at the moment?
3.
3 total. Okay.
Yes.
All right. I am going to say that because of the soul bond, Lynn can contribute 1. So I'm going to just write that on my little notes here. Iona, how are you doing? You've got 1, 2. I'm going to say you're donating 3. So that makes you at 9. I really should have done this ahead of time. Haddy, what can you do? And Faber is going to ask these questions to anyone else who's willing to donate magic. So are there any of the network who has spell slots equal to 5. So either 5 first level or a combination thereof that will add up to 5.
Let me just check because I believe we do actually have a couple. There is. Let's see. Let me just check.
Okay, Haddy can give us.
Let's see. Morford, no. Jeeves, yes. Wait, no. Jeeves, no. Cop, yes. Cop actually, surprisingly, as a ranger, he has actually got you. And so it's just like.
All right, cool.
But it is like there are a few people, and just as this like wave goes through people, there is just like a couple of people, and then there's just Cop from the roof going, "I got some."
All right, cool. This is going to go absolutely splendidly. Because I haven't even got to Rye yet, and this is good. Okay. Ba bum 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 ba bum 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 and Rye. 1, 2, 3. So okay, great. All right, let me just get my calculator real quick because maths needs to happen. All right. 3 plus 9 plus 9 plus 3 plus 3 plus 6. Oh, man, this is going to be easy. Okay, cool. So, Faber asks for everyone who is contributing magic to come over to him, and he pulls out his pink chalk, and he asks everyone to hold out a hand of their choice. And he makes a marking with the chalk on everyone's palm. And you wouldn't expect chalk to really work on hands very well, especially if they're like fur or something, but it just goes on very, very easily. And then once everyone's been marked, he says, now I want everyone to stand around fairly evenly around the building. And he sort of pauses, and then he looks down at Network, and he gives her a little pat on the head. Ordinarily, because you can cast magic as well, I would ask you to help, but you are going to need your strength, all right?
Okay, Faber the Wizard.
And I'll just get the thing up. And then he nods at that and says, all right, once the spell activates, push as much magic as you feel comfortable into the feeling you will feel. And that will help us move this building. And it should be quite impressive. And then he's going to give everyone a chance to disperse around.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to say anything or do anything before we do that bit?
I will say, as Faber was talking, there was an ever so slight echo as Morphet was saying in his exact voice, the exact same as he was. She has been copying every action that he did, just like mirroring.
He's still unnerved, but he's not showing it now.
They are making sure that there isn't a single target to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
There are going to be people who can't contribute, who are still contributing slightly to make it seem as though she's doing the exact same magic.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So once everyone's in position, Faber, he's got his spell book open and he starts sort of muttering to himself. And now I'm going to go ahead and roll this spell. What did I say it was? 2d12. That's not a D. 2d12 plus the total number of assistance points. Yep.
Ooh.
That's good. Diddly. Okay, we're fine. So Faber, he mutters under his breath a little bit, and every single one of the people who are contributing magic to this spell can feel that mark on their hand pulse a little bit and pull just a smidge. And as they push magic into it, those marks and the marks that Faber made all across Network start to glow a very soft pink. And then there's a shudder, and before too much else happens, Faber kneels down slightly and puts his hand on Network's head and says, "This might hurt a little bit." And then there's a shake, and the entire Stagehands Requiem lifts straight off the ground, leaving behind whatever base it was built on, concrete or dirt, and a few bits of dirt and rubble fall out from underneath it. And there is an extra thing that I have to do here. 2d4. Okay, Network takes 5 points of bludgeoning damage because her entire self just got wrenched out of the ground.
There is a little soft noise from her, and immediately there are quite a few heads just whipping around to look at the child. And there is also just Lynn, just this very, almost a faint twitch of her eye as she feels it well as that sudden spontaneous, oh, that's happening, okay. And Ryan would probably feel it as well, that brief little spark of uncertainty from Network, before it smooths back out of Network trusts Faber.
Yeah.
Of just, yeah. It's like having a shot.
Yeah, basically. Excuse me. So the entire Stagehands Requiem lifts to about 3 feet above the ground. So, like, Lynn and Haddy and Rye in particular could sort of duck a little bit in order to just walk straight underneath. And once it's floating, it just sort of floats there, and Faber goes over to the bottom step and puts his hand on the side of the step and gives a small pull, and it just starts floating towards them across the street, away from that block where it once stood.
Oh, that is gets it. There is a round of cheering from people. There's probably a few people in the street who aren't part of this, who are just staring a little wide-eyed, and then they are very quickly ushered on by the small army of people who are just clocking. People are watching. Move along.
Faber's going to be watching as the Requiem floats across the street, and he's going to keep looking it down at Network because he's never done this to a Genius Loci before, and he's also never done this to a Genius Loci in an ambulata before. So he's just like, I am mentally taking notes here, but this all seems to be working quite well. Okay. And he just sort of...
As he's moving, Network is following this tiny little toddling 1 foot tall being. It's just she's following her being, and she's just toddling after him.
And he's just sort of looking at it and then watching at the speed that this is going. This is still quite slow. And then he thinks about it. Lynn, I did fail to take something into account.
That this is a peckin' huge building?
Partially. The teleportation circle station has a door.
Oh, son of a mother picker.
Not to worry. I do have a solution. One moment. Okay, that was close. That is a 2. That is not a fumble. Nearly, but not quite. He reaches back into his hammer space and he pulls out another box of chalk, but these ones aren't that very vibrant pink. These is just some fairly normal looking whitish chalk. And he pulls out the chalk and he looks through his spell book. I know I wrote it in here somewhere. Aha! Here it is. Give me a small moment and do stop Network from bumping into anything. It will not stop moving unless interfered with by an outside force.
Sketches! Hug the Pekin building! And there's just a couple of people just going, this is the weirdest shit we've done all week, but alright. And they're just like, people are just coming in, just on different sides, just putting their hands on the building to stop it going everywhere. a couple of them, like Cop, are actually having to like fully reach up and just do some stuff there because they're short.
Yeah. Faber takes his white chalk over to the plot of land where Network once stood and starts drawing out a very large teleportation circle because he has that spell.
It,
And yeah, he's just very carefully. He's got the Halloween Town circle in his spell book just in case. So he's just copying it out of his spell book.
nice. For Iona, and I guess, yeah, for Haddy as well, and Rye, would they like to roll perception? Because I'm presuming Faber's going to be pretty busy.
Yeah, Faber is he is not paying attention to anything except this circle because gosh, he does not want to get that wrong.
He is
Okay.
in the zone.
Yes. Perception. Right. Nope, that. Haddy is do I have to beat a 24?
Nope.
Cool.
It's so
I'll skip him. And Iona.
it would actually be rather difficult for Haddy.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll roll him
Because it's
anyway
a
then.
visual effect more than anything.
Okay. Well, I will roll him at disadvantage then. I mean, if it's got any mass, what's Haddy? That's a 28. If it's got any mass or any sound or whatever, he can pick it up. But if it's just visual, like Rye's eye changing color, he can't tell. So if it's anything like that, he automatically gets a 0.
I think there would be hints of stuff.
Okay.
So but it is just as everything's going along, it's almost there's this like pattern that starts happening of people moving, of people talking to each other, of shuffling. And it almost feels like a dance in a sense of everyone shuffling constantly, including Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
Lynn is just like bringing Rye and Haddy around with her. And sometimes splintering off and then coming back to one of them or nudging one of you in a direction or another. And there are many tunes around all of you. And Rye, you visually see it. Of just as this is all going, some of the tunes break off from others. And there's disguised self being cast, or minor illusion, or small things here and there that are just scattering and muddying the water until you have been passed and ferried around all the different people. You can tell who your mum is, just barely. There are several of you. There are several people who look exactly like you, who look exactly like Haddy. A few people who've recreated exactly how Network looks. And Lynn, there are a couple of Lynns. There are a couple of iterations of Lynn. There is one person who tries to do her old form and just gets mobbed.
We will not have that in this house. Oh dear.
We will not have that in this hub. Get them.
Yeah, basically.
Which does help to muddy things further as there is a minor dust cloud, and so everyone in that group at that time, you can't really tell who's who anymore. They're just...
Yeah, for sure. Faber takes his time making this teleportation circle, and then he activates the magic so that it is working. And then he's starting to look a little bit tired, but he's doing all right. And he waves over to the plethora of people. This is all ready to go. If you would like to nudge the Stagehands Requiem over to the circle, and anyone who's coming with may want to stand on it as well.
There are about 3 Lynns that all look up at the same time and nod.
Faber's just like, what?
You cannot see Jeeves anymore as well, I will note. Jeeves appeared among the throng. He could be any of them.
Oh boy. Oh heck. Faber is definitely going to need a stiff drink and a nap after this day.
Yes, especially as there's just like there is just I'm gonna roll stealth just because I find it amusing as fuck. Just let me did I give you bless you, sweetheart. She's not stealthy at all. There is just Morpha is just there.
Oh boy.
She has, she's entirely this time been in essence doing mirror image. As he's been using chalk, she has also been using chalk, but a lot thinner and slightly paler so that he could tell, oh hey, no, this isn't mine, and just go over it.
Yep.
But
Oh dear.
they have been playing to the bit the entire time.
Great.
But as this goes on, there is at this point there is the splintering of into different groups. It's you can would Faber like to roll Arcana?
Sure, I can have Faber do Arcana. What's your Arcana score, guy? It's pretty decent. 17.
Very nice. As all this has been going on, it's when he started calling out to people, there was the slight vibration of Morpha next to him saying the exact same things, but also almost a muffle effect. You can't hear birds or the whistling of trees and branches or any of that sort of thing. It's almost as though you guys are not quite in a bubble, but as though enough people are casting other spells to make sure that whatever's said here isn't heard elsewhere.
Cool. Very
And
cool.
enough people are casting things like there's probably fog cloud on the roofs around this place so that the spell that is on the ground can't be seen because teleportation circles are kind of distinctive. They do not want people who are watching to be able to tell where this is going. Cop
Yep.
specifically channeling anything and everything he has into anything he has left into making sure that's not seen.
Faber is the poor man. He is going to look at the several Lins that came over, and then look at the several Rys that came over. It's like
And the several Haddies and the many cats.
He's just gonna sort of look, and then okay. We are going to depart this way. If anyone who is staying behind would like to use some sort of water spell to remove the circle once we're gone, I suppose that's up to you.
There are multiple people suddenly grinning at one of just you have given them blanket permission to deal with this stuff. They know what they want to do. Okay. And
He's just like, oh, thank God I'm not going to be here.
But there is a divvying up of groups, just a couple of people nudging others. Just everything is just very nicely. It is actually structures, which is surprising. Just everyone follows an order of yes, they are chaotic and running between places, but there are the group that is stepping onto the teleportation, and then a few others as well who just splinter off, a couple of nudges here or there, but there are 3 splinter groups that aren't coming with. But there is 2 Lins, 2 Haddies, 2 Rys, several cats,
Amazing.
and just a couple of other people who just go, and there's Morpha who is by your side, this other Faber just gives a very you smile. And just walks off with your exact stance and gait and just goes off to one of the other groups. And in your voice, starts very much clearer, just saying basically exactly what you said, except going, okay, we're going to go to the teleportation circle over here. And another group ringing out with Lynn's voice going, okay, picnic, so here's the drill. And they're all saying different locations and different circles.
Rye and Haddy are having a great time. Like, neither of them are particularly surprised. Aisling thinks this is hilarious. Iona is quite amused. Faber is very tired.
There is at least one other little Aisling. It's probably great. Some people are having the time of their life recreating little Aisling and little network.
Cute. Oh dear. Faber is going to, now that the group is on the circle he drew and the Stagehands Requiem is sort of floating, he sort of has to stand off to one side because he's too tall for that gap underneath. And he sort of just gives a bit of a
He can
sigh.
sit crisscross applesauce. You can do it.
The phrase doesn't work with our accents. It doesn't rhyme. He's just going to sort of sigh a little bit and then look up at this floating building. I think we need just a little bit more help. And he is going to just rap his knuckles against this network side wall. And there is a distinct feeling of magic. And he has just cast Reduce and it shrinks. Not super small, unfortunately. It comes down to maybe a standalone garage kind of size. So it's still a good 15 feet or so tall, but it's in all our capacities shrinks down by half. And he sort of looks at it and goes, that should do.
Oh, there is from a couple of the Lins, there is a very pleased smile. And then from some of the ones that are still, like, distinctly Toon, they haven't actually changed over. There is a couple of snapping hands, and people are materializing stuff that is coming, finger quotes, off of network.
Mm-hmm.
And there are now minor illusions of parts of the building, of smaller buildings of varying sizes. Some people working together to make bigger constructs. There is just now, they can work with this. They can work with this. Right as he's doing it, it's just several different types of magic going off to make as many small replicants as possible.
Splendid. And Faber is just going to sigh, and he does look as though he's getting to the extent of his magic, and then he immediately taps with his foot the teleportation circle, and everyone on it and the building with them disappears, just like that. And does the group want to react before we change scene?
I will say there is just one last thing. There are 3 Lins, and 2 of the Lins at the exact same time. The third one only just lip syncing with it goes, "Let her rip!" And several of the UPAians that have been left just back with the others just suddenly just absolutely do colour sprays at the same time. Of just there is an absolute, whatever happens with this, whatever signature that this magic gives off, it will be entirely drowned out by the minor illusions and by the sheer amount of multicoloured eye strains that are left behind. Someone is going to create water, so there is just like rainbow, which thoroughly dunks and erases the chalk, but they are all just having the time of their lives before they all just scatter to the winds.
Okay. Let me just roll something really quickly. Splendid.
Yeah.
I'm just going to make a note of that. Off to one side. Lol. Okay. I have now got a note for that. Okay. So they whoosh through the teleportation circle and reappear in a very large room that gives off the same sort of vibes as Grand Central Station. But Halloweeny, because you're now in the teleportation hub of Halloween Town. They've got the teleportation circle, and I think there was a train station there as well. That's where RJ said the train station was. And we do not have our delightful RJ with us, unfortunately, today. But we have been told that Steve is there with prayer hands, just looking at this group of people and the entire gosh darn house that just came through the teleportation circle.
I don't think it helps that as soon as like they're through, there are just like the Lins and the Rys and the Haddies all just grin. There is just one of the Lins gives a very uncharacteristic turn to the other one and just bows slightly before snapping their fingers, and then there is just a small splinter group from here, which is going off with some minor illusions to just go further. There is just going to be even more chaos. It's now they are further out. They're just going to run with it, just hop on a train and just make themselves very distinctive.
Great.
Just different groups just going, okay, this is one teleportation circle. We're going to take another teleportation circle. We're going to take a train. All right, everyone, have fun. Just you.
Great. And Faber is pushing the building straight away off this circle, and Iona has actually taken up her normal form and is pushing as well because they can reach the easiest. And Faber turns to the people that are left around him. We have to get Network out of the building before the reduced spell wears off, or we won't be able to get her out of the doors.
Oh, yeah, no, we're not picking doing that. Okay, everyone who's left, keep moving. And Lynn's just like popping on her heels so that she's got a bit more height. And he's just coming over to give a good shove because, hey, barbarian.
And how long does that spell last? I think they've just got enough time. Up to a minute. Yep. Great. They have a minute to get out of the thing. Oh,
I think
dear.
Lynn, Halloween Town, I apologize for the people of Halloween Town because Lynn is just gonna full on just yell, move it or lose it, we got a pecking building!
Yeah, and
They are armed and dangerous. They're armed and dangerous with a very powerful big building.
yeah, and it is quite the spectacle because it is this 2-story building shrunk down to 15 feet high with a garden on top and covered in glowing pink runes floating 3 feet off the ground. But they do manage to get it outside the station before the reduced spell wears off. And Faber now looks very, very tired. And he just sort of turns to, is there only one Lynn left with him, or is there still two?
There is one Lynn left. The other two Lynns, one caught a train after giving a cackle that almost sounded like Lynn, but also had far too many jagged teeth. So you get the feeling that might have been Cop.
Right.
And then there was Jeeves. And now there is just Lynn and Rye and Haddy. The real Lynn and Rye and Haddy.
He's going to turn to Lynn and just go, the spell that lifts Network off the ground will last for another few hours. So we can get her into position and in the orientation that you want on whichever block of land you are taking up here. And she will very gently lower down herself once the spell wears off. And he just sounds so tired. He pumped so much magic into all of that. And Iona just sort of gives him a little bit of a pat on the back.
He now has a very nice anklet, and Network is just hugging his leg. She's so happy.
He's going to look down. How are you feeling, Network? You're doing all right?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm sure this must feel very strange. This is the first time I've done this with a Genius Locus, so I'm glad it went well.
Where does Peck?
Yes, I suppose it must be. And yeah.
Network is just having the time of her life, honestly. It's confusing and bizarring and feels really weird.
It's like a strange sort of weightlessness.
Yes. It's kind of like flying, but she's actually on the ground, and it is the dissonance of being flying and weightless and also being with your feet on the ground is something strange.
Yeah, because she's got complete set of senses in the ambulata as well as this weird weightless feeling kind of in her heart sort of thing, because her heart is floating. Rye is actually going to pick Network up at this point and just sit her on her front step, and he's going to put Aisling next to him so the two ambulatas can sit on the bottom step, which is floating along with them, so that they don't get left behind because they only got little legs.
Yes. There is also probably the rather amusing thing of like little Network realizing, wait, I'm in Spooky Town. I'm with Kara, and so at the top of her tiny, tiny lungs is just yelling, "Hi, Kara, so spooky!" just repeatedly,
Oh, wonderful.
just running commentary of everything that's happened at the top of her tiny little lungs.
We love her so much. Network, my beloved. Oh my goodness.
And Lynn's just gonna come up to Faber and go, "You have been through the picking wars. You've given off magic. You're staying with us for tonight."
It's quite all right. There's you know how close the circle is at Column Seal to our house. If I don't manage to get all the way there, Aisling can look after herself for the evening, and I'll stay at the inn.
If you're sure, because if you wanted to stay, I'm pretty sure Network would drown you in pillows. They're nice pillows. We do have some good chili as well if you're hungry. Because Pick, you're hungry. We've got chili. I'm gonna take you. I'm gonna send you home with chili. You're all getting chili.
Thank you, Miss Lynn. I'm glad this has all gone so well.
I am too. I can't thank you enough for everything you've done.
It is my pleasure to help. After the things that I have done, I am glad that I'm able to make up for it in this way.
At this point, water under the Pickin' Bridge. Or air under the Pickin' House, as it is. And Lynn just like passes her hand underneath Network, just making Network giggle at that point.
Mm.
And people can roll insight on Lynn again if they'd like. Anyone and everyone who wants to.
Okie dokie, we can do that. Let's just start at the top of my list and scroll down.
I did not do this out of complete and total humour for myself, seeing as I've got rid of all my characters except for one.
Alrighty. Aisling. Faber. Keep on scrolling. Iona. Oh, nearly there. They have so many spells. The sheets are so long. Haddy. And nearly there.
I almost want to say I'm going to give Haddy and Rye advantage because this is their family, but I also don't want to make you say, "Oh, that's..." Yeah, it's... There has almost been an immediate reaction of once you guys were in Halloween Town, and then now that you're actually out here in this place with all of this going on, of Lynn's been pretty soft-furred this entire time, which is pretty dang impressive for Lynn nowadays with the scratchy fur with her outline as it is.
Mm.
The longer you guys are all out here and she's looking around, she's seeing that this went off well and without a hitch. You see her relax even further. The tension that is always in her shoulders, always present, just melts slightly. And she has kept up through everything this very professional, shoulders back, head back, regal detective look of when everything was going on. As Faber was doing things, she was organizing people and sorting stuff out, switching between languages. She doesn't look like Detective Stagehand now. She looks like Lynn. Just Lynn. Standing in Halloween Town, standing in her new home, and feeling utterly safe. It's the calmest that she can ever be. Away from Toontown.
It is definitely a calmer place than Toontown. Haddy is walking behind Lynn with his cane in one hand and Lynn's tail in the other, because he has no idea where we're going. And
Yes.
when because Rye got a dirty 20 on that insight, when he
Yep.
feels that little bit of tension bleed out of Lynn, he's going to come up nice and close and hold her good hand in his and just give it a small squeeze and then just look at her and smile. Welcome home, Mum.
Welcome home. We're gonna pick and love it here. And she smiles.
I love it. That seems like the perfect place to leave it off. I leaned too far away from my mic. That seems like the perfect place to leave it off, just with that. That's lovely.
In Toontown, there is chaos aplenty. Beyond Toontown, there is chaos aplenty. Some places have got teleportation circles that have got some really weird groups. And trains that have got really weird groups. There is just an eclectic mass of people here and there and everywhere, just suddenly looking like Lynn and Rye and Haddy and doing weird stuff. But right now, we've got happiness and peace and soft. This is the perfect place to end it. Thank you for listening, everyone.
And just before we go, I will say that they found the place that Lynn had negotiated from Halloween Town and very gently positioned network very carefully. And Rye's like, okay, we need this much front yard and then this much on either side, and she's got to be at this angle. Perfect. And then she gently goes down. And Faber does, in fact, take Lynn up on that offer to stay because he's just bugging.
Yeah, it's Lynn might just go, so I need some paperwork sorted inside. Would you mind coming? And the second, like, Faber's inside, doors close, pillows aplenty, he's drowned. He's getting that nap. Network is very, like, Rye can hear through the bond that Network was slowly just going, little closer, got him.
I'm going to do him a con save just for shits and giggles because it's funny. Yeah. He's bundled up in these cushions and then he's out like a light.
Hey! But
oh dear.
there will be a nice place for this home, just like semi near like Phasmus, just like his place of just like probably same street. Probably she will have asked for like a corner place because she does like her corners, corners of streets. And so I've been told by RJ that they're probably going to get ghost donuts and then probably be bombarded with questions because, yeah, I admit bringing a home like this probably is rather strange.
That's what happens when you're friends with an architecture wizard.
Woo!
Oh dear. All right. Well, I think this is a good place to sign off. This has been 1 3/4 of an hour of all sorts of chaos. Golly gosh. Thank you, Vwild. That was lovely.
Thank you for encouraging my bullshit and for helping resolve an issue. We're getting a peaceful monkey!
Yay! Thanks for listening, everyone. This has been fun. Bye-bye!
Bye-bye!